Our people on the new media desk have developed contacts with Twitter, with tweeters and people using Twitter, wait prompter, overseas. They've developed relationships. What they've said to thus far appears to be true. And now those same people are reporting to us that that people are being thrown off bridges in Tehran. I can't confirm it. But they are communicating with Fox News over the internet and saying the government is treating people, quote, like animals. State-run TV reports more than a dozen people have been killed to date. That's the official number. The supreme leader went on state TV to say the police are acting within the bounds of the, quote, system. But as the demonstrations continue over Iran's presidential election, the situation today appears to have gone from very bad to much worse. Well, you see it there, riot police storming the crowd. It is impossible for us to confirm when this video was shot, quite frankly, where this video was shot. We don't know if this has been staged, but we don't have any reason to believe it has been. This has been the case with almost all the information we get out of Iran because the regime has kicked out the reporters. Some have also reportedly been arrested. Instead, we've had to rely on Iranians brave enough to post information on the internet. Few are still online, and those who are still online appear to us to be terrified. Soon we may have no first-hand information at all. But take a look at what we've managed to pull off Twitter today. We will not show you the names of who posted this for safety reasons, but here we go. We saw militia with an axe chopping people like meat. Blood everywhere like butcher. Another reads, so many killed today, so many injured. Now video, recently posted on YouTube. Police with batons randomly beating Iranians in the street. Again, we do not know when or where this video is from. But the police, our sources say, we've decided over the past week, our source is very reliable. The violence still happening in the capital of Tehran. The state-controlled media reports 20 have been killed in the city in the last week and a half. And that's what they're admitting to. If reports today are accurate, that number could certainly spike. Let's get now to the latest developments from our friend inside Iran, Kayvon Biyuki, a freelance journalist. Kayvon, what are you seeing?
Well, Shep, I can tell you that Tehran basically had a relatively quiet afternoon and night tonight, apart from the demonstrations that you're referring to, which was held at a politically famous square here called Baharistan, which is where the first Iranian Houses of Parliament is located. This is a political square because almost all the political unrest in the capital have been held around it, and one of Shah's prime minister, Mr. Mansour, was also assassinated there by an Islamic group in late 50s. But today, anyway, apparently a large number of protesters gather outside this old parliament and start chanting slogans such as what is usually said these days in Tehran. And the protest continued till about 7 p.m. There was police and anti-riot police and plainclothes and all the selection of the security forces present. And from time to time, pockets of confrontations was also seen. However, according to neighboring shopkeepers, there was no shots fired during the demonstrations. But people who were present there have other opinions.
Kayvon, we're getting reports of people being thrown off bridges, of the government slaughtering people like meat. I know you're under enormous pressure and that times are very difficult there. But is there any way to confirm this?
No, to be honest with you, there isn't. It could well have happened or it could not have happened because the communication here is so weak now. There is almost no way. I mean, there is not much difference between me here sitting 5 kilometers away from the center of conflicts and you sitting in New York, because we are both relying on communication, and communication lacks here at the time. What I can tell you, though, around that particular square where today the demonstrations happened, there is no pedestrian bridge. And as far as I know, that was the only place where demonstration happened. However, if it happened anywhere else, which usually does around Tehran, Tehran is a large city, and a lot of things happen, that I cannot really confirm.
Kayvon Biyuki, do you have a sense for whether this thing, whether the government is once and for all just going to stop this come hell or high water?
I don't think the government is going to stop this at all, because government is actually gearing up to confront the demonstrators properly and teach them a lesson, as you've heard they've been saying. So I don't think the government or the security forces are going to back down at all. In fact, they're getting more organized and gaining experience of how to do and what to do. But this, at the same time, doesn't mean that the protesters are going to back down either, because not only protesters, but also famous figures like the only cleric candidate of the presidency, Mr. Karoubi, is actually calling for demonstrations and mourning ceremonies to be held for those killed this week in Tehran tomorrow. But he's not yet been able to name a place and a time for it. And the reason is that he's not been able to find anywhere. That's why some people suggest that this ceremony may be held tomorrow at Imam Khomeini's mausoleum in south of Tehran.
We shall see. Kayvon Biyuki, all the best to you. Thanks so much for what information you can give us. Think of it. This is a government that forbids people from walking down the street and holding hands, that stones women and cuts people's hands off. Now they've gotten all the people and they're beating them in the streets. That's some stark reality.